by California, out here at the northern end of Humboldt County. We're about to take on Prairie Creek Redwoods State Park. Now, this is a 5-star route from Dirty Free Hub, a website that has over 8,000 miles of gravel routes across the West. Now, I get the feeling I might have to fight off some fog, but I'll get to see redwoods, coastal bluffs, and the mouth of the Klamath River. I'm in. Let's roll. Prairie Creek Redwoods State Park sits on the northern edge of Humboldt County, crossing into Del Norte on the mouth of the Klamath River. I stayed the night before 50 miles to the south at the Victorian-era city of Eureka, representing the Lost Coast. The route that was laid out was a double lollipop covering 36 miles with a deceptive 2,700 feet of climbing. The park entrance was just north of Oric, where you'll see a number of bike tourists heading down the coast in the summer season. You're welcomed by the visitor center with parking and restrooms, as well as hints of larger animals to come. Passing the campgrounds, you cross the gate onto the well-marked Davison Trail for a mile, which if you continued on, extends to part of Dirty Free Hub's Lost Man route. But still, I did my best to try sabotaging my own ride. As you can tell, I'm not used to good signs. After a mile, you merge onto Strelo Creek Trail, which is a jewel of a way to start your day. The next 2 miles is a launching pad of free-flowing fun, as it's like a carpet ride, rewarding a high cadence through the undulations. Even with an obstacle here and there, it's a great way to set the tone of any ride. Our route exits out onto Davison Road with a hue of its own, thanks to vehicular traffic kicking up this whitish dirt, leaving a uniquely colorless imprint on the nearby foliage. After this surprising climb, you dip your way towards Gold Bluff Beach, passing an unmanned booth, where you kick in 3 miles of straightaway access road tempo. Although 99% of the state was locked into a heat wave at the time, the moisture really came on, making it hard for me to stay dry, let alone my cameras. The cliff to the right looked intriguing, especially when you erase any thoughts about how you're going to get up there. Crossing a couple of creeks, you feel like you're making better time than even the drivers. But your assumptions on pace changes at mile 8, continuing on to single track, where you start questioning your proceeding. That's a very adversarial sign. While you quickly come upon Home Creek and a number of hikers, crossing the waterway to your left commits you to a completely otherworldly adventure. Being in the heart of summer, it's not expected you'll be battling all this wetness, as water seems to be leaking out everywhere. Okay, it's starting to get a little tricky. Even though the map looks straight, it's just a lot of wiggling that happens to trend northward, as you should keep low expectations for progress. This out-of-place bench strangely has its back turned to one of the better views of the day, but you continue to adjust, going in and out of the tree line, relying on your GPS. Another note is that even though you're alone, you may not be.
They seem to be very interested. I seem to want to try and walk very quietly and non-threatening. I hope it doesn't go right by them. This is either one of the coolest things or my last video.
Either I covered my tracks well, or they were leaving me for the velociraptors. I emerged out of the dankness to a timely sign where my fortunes would change.
All right, I'm pretty muddy, whipped up from everything. And now it looks like it's more of the same.
You may feel uncomfortable watching water drown footage, but it was far worse living it, trying to climb the Osagan Trail. With the first mile and a quarter averaging 10.5%, under all the saturation, wasn't the second act I was hoping for, with small victories outweighed by larger losses. At least a bridge crossing the creek gave me some sense I was headed in the right direction.
Oh, semi-civilization.
The good news was the steepness led up for a little fun, and wiping off my camera was starting to make a difference. And soon I made my way out, wishing the best for those who dared. I welcomed the climbing of 9%, making me happy for some pavement, and soon I veered off the park's main road onto Coastal Drive with some optimism for off-roading Part 2. It was 1.5 miles of mainly asphalt until I crossed the gate. And while it was a good fire road width, conditions again looked ominous, as even locating the coastline just below was impossible.
Can't see a thing. Shazbot.
Reaching this junction 1 mile ahead, raised some eyebrows, questioning the dip in front of me.
Okay. While the coastal trail looks semi-promising ahead, I know my time frame is going to be pretty tight. Guess what I'm going to do?
Actually, when you check Google Maps, this lollipop isn't as foreboding as I made it look. But since it was miles since I saw the last person, and I was even further away from my car, the risk of something going wrong or running into antlers made this the right choice riding alone. At least I got to enjoy the Redwoods. And returning on Newton B. Drury Scenic Parkway confirmed my suspicion it previously served as Old Highway 101. And I definitely used the time to enjoy riding through these giants, looking forward to the next trip where the weather won't be so bad. So, like Campbell's soup, this was a pretty hearty ride. It's funny how, while the rest of the state is mired in a heat wave, how wet this trail is. I don't think it's ever going to get any drier than the top of Kauai. If you're gonna tackle this, give yourself time, biggest tires you can fit on, and extra gearing for those really slick climbs. Hey, if you wanna look this good, we've got GVC gear available, or you can help support us make trips like this on Patreon. Also, if you want to learn more about gravel rides in California, check out our Gravel Guys page, so we can bring you more from the state of dirt. Yeah.